Cool. So we are chatting today about mindfulness and self-awareness.
And being present.
Okay, cool. And I feel like you should do the introduction because it's your topic.
Well, thanks for putting me on the spot there, Ali.
Yeah, I see you've got a whole list of notes there.
I've got a whole list of notes. Yeah, so look, it's something that that you know that I am trying to get better at.
Yeah.
Really trying to focus on being present and being in the moment.
Yeah.
And a couple of podcasts ago, we kind of touched on it. We talked about brain function and kind of how our brains operate on a very high level. We talked about the amygdala and the thalamus and how it responds. But the whole question of living in the moment, being present, I think a lot of people get that wrong. You know, when we talk about mindfulness, what is the first picture that comes to mind when I say mindful? Yes.
The guy with his legs crossed.
There we go. There we go. That's right. And I think most people have that perception of, well, for me to be mindful and for me to be in the moment, you know, I've got to take myself out of what I do every day, and I can only achieve that
with an
So that helps.
Yeah.
That has its place.
Yeah.
And surely we can all do with building that discipline or that habit of spending some time. And typically the suggestion is at the beginning of the day to kind of set the tone for the day or the intent for the day of how we're going to be. But the point is that we can be present, and we must be present at any time during the day, whatever it is that we do. Whether we're doing our jobs, we're busy cooking dinner, whether we're watching TV.
Yeah.
It's about being present and in that moment and enjoying that moment. Viktor Frankl, now I forget the name of the book, but Viktor Frankl, I think I mentioned him in a previous podcast as well, you know, was in the Second World War. He was in one of the concentration camps and made it through that ordeal, and that really shaped him as a human being. And one of the things that stood out for me is that he said that there can be despair in success, and that you can find fulfillment in failure.
Yeah.
So being present and being in the moment and making the best of it doesn't mean that, well, you know what, if I don't achieve success, or if I don't achieve absolute bliss, it means that was a waste. Every second counts.
Yeah.
And what's really made me think about this a lot more lately is when we get that stark reminder about our own mortality.
Yeah.
And I observe people around me, people become very aware of it.
Yeah.
Oh, that could easily have been me.
Yeah.
And then you hear people saying, well, I've got to do this, I've got to do that, I've got to do that. And for about a week or so, see,
That's
people are very aware of these things. And interestingly, the grievance counsellor that came to speak to us, I don't think any of us really saw it as a warning, but she said to us, it takes about 2 weeks.
2 weeks, and then things
go back to normal.
Yeah.
So I see people who, during that time, said that, oh, I must make this change and I've got to start doing this or stop doing that. Have now just gone back to their old ways.
Yeah.
And maybe I did in some ways as well. I try to be very aware of that and making sure that I don't go back to these old ways. But being aware of just every single second or every minute or every hour of your day and making sure that you get something out of that is extremely important.
Yeah.
And I want people to be a bit more aware of that.
Yeah, so how do you measure that you're doing that? Or it's so difficult, like everything just starts piling up and you forget something that happened, and I don't know, I struggle with how to be present in this moment right now. And
so there are two things that rob us from living in the present.
The past and the future.
The past and the future.
It was a thing I shared with you recently. I saw someone posted on Facebook this thing about we are so enamored with the I can't remember what the detail was. It was actually really beautifully written. Need to find it again.
Yeah.
I'll post it or link to it or something.
So the way that I look at it is we are held hostage by our memories of the past. Then Sam Harris has got a very good way of putting it to say that, your memories is just a thought in the present.
Yeah.
You can't go back to what was. And it's also quite interesting, several studies that were done to prove that our memories are lying to us. It depends on your frame of mind, your state of mind, etc. You can perceive an event that happened in different ways.
Yeah.
So it's great to remember your past and have memories. We all have good memories and bad memories, but don't be held hostage by them, because we cannot go back and change any of that. And then the other thing is, and this is what we're really good at, and it messes with our ability to live in the present, is that we always project towards the future.
Yeah.
And again, in Sam Harris's words, the future never arrives.
Yeah.
It is always just our thought of what will come.
Yeah.
And we have absolutely no control over that. So with that, I'm not saying that you shouldn't plan ahead. You shouldn't have goals. You shouldn't have things that you want to achieve. We cannot do everything we want to do exactly
right
this
now,
moment.
Yeah.
But the point is that we're so good at putting off and thinking that the future will be better.
Well, we have more time.
Or it will be worse.
Yeah.
And therefore we're not enjoying the moment.
Yeah.
It's interesting, I'm trying to remember, Lao Tzu or one of those wise men said that depression is associated with living in the past. And then anxiety is associated with living in the future, because we get anxious about what might come.
Yeah.
The depression in the past, that's about regretting things that happened in the past or didn't happen in the past and so on. So, and that's also a good reminder for me, in terms of checking your thoughts. So, happiness is here. It's here, it's from within, and it can only be associated with now.
Yeah.
So you asked the question of, well, how do you do that?
Yeah. How do you check yourself?
How do you check yourself? We spoke about a couple of weeks ago, we spoke about the thing about, being aware of your thoughts, but the negative thoughts,
the lies,
the lies, etc. And it really is an exercise that I think Jordan Peterson talks about this quite a bit, but it's trying to observe your thoughts like a spectator. Not necessarily trying to change your thoughts or trying to force it in a specific way. But once you become aware of your thoughts, you'll definitely learn from that.
Yeah.
And observing that over a period of time. Let's say, for example, today I'm just going to try and kind of step out of my own mind and observe it like a spectator. And then at the end of the day, kind of looking just broadly, what were my thought patterns today? Was I more positive?
Yeah.
Was it more negative? And then you can start thinking about, well, what are the changes that I have to make? Instead of trying to, well, I'm only going to have positive thoughts today. And by the 5th or the 10th negative thought, which they come up, then abandoning that and saying, oh, I can never get this right. But without judging yourself and your mind and what's going on there, observe your thoughts.
Yeah.
I think it's a good thing to remind yourself of your own mortality every single day. And this is not a depressing.
Yeah.
The fact is that we don't know whether we're going to be around tomorrow or this afternoon or next year or next month.
Yes, don't put off things that you.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many cliches that we can slot in here about, don't put off. But more importantly, about take the joy out of this moment. And not thinking that, well, I'm going to be unhappy, I've got to do this, I'm going to be unhappy here, but later on or tomorrow.
When I get more money, or when I go on that holiday, or when I do this, or when I do that, when I get my new car, or when the things that you kind of anticipate and you're waiting for to make you happy.
Yes, and we all know that those things, it's a spike, it's a dopamine spike, and then that becomes the new norm or the new reality, and then you see, well, that didn't make me happy.
Yeah.
We all see that around ourselves so often. People are Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, they're looking forward to Friday. They're looking forward to the weekend. So great, you're going to get to do things on the weekend with friends, family, whatever, things that you enjoy. But you rob yourself of a whole lot of happiness and joy and living by just wishing the days would pass so that you can get to that future.
Yeah.
So those are simple things that you can do. Is just look for the joy that you can find in every day and in every minute.
Yeah.
And if we really get good at this, in every second.
Yeah.
And understand, that again, a reference to Jordan Peterson is about life is not about just being happy and everything going extremely well and so on. That's not what life is about. It's kind of that yin and yang sign, and kind of maintaining that balance between order and chaos.
Yeah.
And that's what we do. That's what we do on a daily basis. And taking the lessons that we learn from the chaos and kind of applying that.
Growing as people and I think as a friend to people as well, being able to help other people through rough times. And
and you can only do that when you are there and you are present and not trying to kind of defer to the future and not be held hostage by the past.
So what is there anything, I mean, other than the trying to check your thoughts, are there any other actionable kind of points that we can use? I mean, I know I've got this app Aware, which I don't use very often. I'm trying to get back into it now because they've got some programs that you can follow for anxiety or for sleep, or but you have to finish the foundation course first, which I had started and got halfway through and never finished. So I'm trying to finish that foundation course so that I can go on to these specific programs. And he actually, in the one I listened to yesterday, which I hadn't listened for a few weeks, he said, you might find that this is quite repetitive, but this is the point. We need to teach you just to kind of be in this frame of mind and this mindset before we can start building on it. So I got to a point where I thought, this is too repetitive for me, I can't do this every day. And then the very next one, which I listened to yesterday, said, I know it sounds repetitive, but keep going, just push through. So I'm going to try and get back to that. I mean, it's a app that helps you with the morning kind of 20 minutes of just being quiet and with your thoughts.
And it's mostly around focusing on your breathing.
Yeah. And your thoughts. So he says when your
Yes.
thoughts start to stray, don't punish yourself. Don't make them go away. Let them come in and.
Well, that's a fact.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
we can't stop thinking.
Yeah.
People talk about, I can't switch off.
Yeah.
Well, be happy that you
Yeah.
can't switch off.
You might be a
That would
vegetable if you.
Yes, that
Yeah.
would mean that there's something seriously
Yeah.
wrong with you. But so a lot of those things, and I can really recommend people practicing some breathing exercises.
Yeah.
Whether that's in the morning for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, it doesn't have to take up a lot of time. Some people do it for 2 hours a day religiously, sit there, maybe split it up in a morning session and an evening session. But if you can just get yourself to start and just do 5 minutes a day, it will become easier. Yes, it is repetitive. It is like building any other habit. What's really nice is once you get into that habit and you can find yourself at any period during the day, feel that you're starting to feel a little bit anxious or even a little bit annoyed or whatever, is, well, you know what, I know that my breathing, just focusing on my breathing and maybe just sitting for a minute or 2 minutes. I often do that when I sit in traffic. Find that I get annoyed because I might be running late, or what's this idiot in front of me doing, is then just kind of getting myself to focus on my breathing. And it's amazing what that does for you. It's becoming aware of that and not trying to control your thoughts too much.
So something that I do as well, I mean, I'm not saying this will work for everyone, but if I'm starting to feel overwhelmed in my day, or I feel like everything's getting a bit too much, or I'm struggling to focus, I'll just go for a walk. Just go walk around, not listen to anything, not look at my phone, put it away, and just walk.
So there are many different things. I really encourage that. I mean, there are so many things written and studies that show the benefits of doing exactly what you said. Getting up, getting outside,
changing your environment.
Changing your environment. The benefits of sunlight. Get out there, get into the sun. Go for that walk. There are many different ways, and I think it's finding what works well for you. I suppose the most popular one and where a lot of meditation starts is around the focusing on your breathing and becoming aware of, and not trying to control your thoughts and so on. And getting outside, many benefits about that as well, and all the other things that happen in your body. This is when you start walking and so on. So I just want to encourage people to just first of all become aware of. Try to always bring yourself back to this moment, and then explore some methods that work for you. But really get to the point where we can feel that we are able to live in the moment, because that's all we have. That's all we really have and all we have control over.
Cool. It's a nice challenge for myself, and I hope for the rest of you. And thank you.
Thanks.